distinguished faculty members, and my dear students. A very good morning to you all. Today, we are going to have some basic insights on the topic phytochemicals as emergent strategy to control bacterial biofilm. Before proceeding with the presentation, let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Fahad Mahmood Hussain. I have pursued my bachelor's, master's, and PhD degree from Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. My PhD topic was exploring the anti-quorum sensing and anti-biofilm activities of natural products. After completing my PhD in 2014, I am serving as assistant professor in the King's House University Department of Food Science and Human Nutrition. So let's begin with the presentation. Multi-drug resistance has emerged as a global issue in the management of infectious diseases. The problem has prevailed mainly due to injudicious use of antibiotics in healthcare, agriculture, and food industries. MDR pathogens have evolved one or more mechanisms of resistance to conventional chemotherapeutic agents, commonly we know them as antibiotics, that drastically reduce the susceptibility of antibiotics. Moreover, in biofilm mode, bacteria becomes up to several hundred times more resistant to antibiotics compared to planktonic forms. Therefore, the efficacy of such conventional antibiotics can no longer be entrusted for prolonged administration against MDR pathogens. There is a need for development of urgent therapeutic agents that can combat MDR problem at least by and increase the susceptibility of the chemotherapeutics by inhibiting or eradicating the biofilm. The use of plant as therapies in therapies in traditional medicine is as old as the mankind. Owing to their various biological properties, plant extracts and phytocompounds have been exploited as antibiofilm agents and are becoming a novel alternative in management of MDR pathogens and their biofilms. Multi-drug resistant bacteria and the beginning of post-antibiotic era. Today, different classes of antibiotics with distinct mode of action are available to fight diverse microorganisms. However, the number of resistant microorganisms are increasing globally. The continued evolution and spread of multi-antibiotic resistance in human pathogens is an alarming clinical challenge. For example, around 90 to 95% of the S. aureus strains worldwide are resistant to penicillin, and in most of the Asian countries, 70 to 80% are resistant to methicillin. Also, gram-negative bacteria such as Pseudomonas, Acinetobacter, E. coli, and Enterobacter are rapidly becoming very problematic due to their nosocomial status and expression of the MDR phenotype, which makes the treatment of the infections difficult. Moreover, the slow development of antibiotics has further worsened the scenario. As we can see from the figure, since the beginning of the 21st century, only 2 antibiotics have been introduced. And against them also resistance has been reported. Now, understanding the mechanism by which bacteria defend themselves against antimicrobial agents is essential to circumvent this public health threat. Antibiotic resistance can be intrinsic but can also be acquired via mutations in chromosomal genes and by horizontal gene transfer. Bacterial intrinsic resistance to a particular antibiotic is the ability of a species to resist to the action of that antimicrobial agent as a result of intrinsic structural and functional characteristics. Bacteria can also acquire or develop resistance to antibiotics through spontaneous mutation or by acquiring genes from other bacteria. The acquisition of exogenous Genes may occur by transduction, that is mediated by the bacteriophages, conjugation, which involves direct cell-to-cell contact and transfer of the plasmid or the transposons, or the transformation involving the uptake of free DNA that results from bacterial lysis. Susceptible bacteria may become resistant to antibiotics through multiple and complex mechanisms, as shown in this figure, such as the prevention of access to the target by reducing the permeability, increased efflux pump expression, degradation and modification of the antibiotics, and the modification of the molecular targets. Now, what is biofilm? Bacterial biofilm is a structured community of microorganisms encased in an exopolysaccharide or exopolymeric substance which adheres to an inert living surface. Biofilms are mostly polymicrobial and may consist of not only bacterial cells but also fungi, viruses, proteins, extracellular DNA, and other biogenic factors. Biofilm growth helps bacteria because it is protective and it increases survival in a hostile environment. Majority of the bacteria in most natural and pathogenic ecosystems compose biofilm. A hallmark of the biofilm producing infections is that they are highly polymicrobial. It is thought colloquially that naturally occurring biofilms are never caused by a single organism. The polymicrobial nature of the biofilm increases infection virulence and complicates treatment. It has been observed that several antibiotics are not active against dormant cells, and this phenomena can help us to explain the resistance demonstrated by bacteria and biofilms. Biofilms are common in nature and can cause numerous chronic infections, including cystic fibrosis, pneumonia, periodontitis, and varied infections associated with indwelling devices such as catheters, heart valves, orthopedic devices, and contact lenses. In the environment and industries, biofilms are associated with biofouling, corrosion of the pipes, and amplified frictional resistance to fluid movement greatly increases energy consumption. They are also associated with the contamination and spoilage in food processing. This particular slide shows some illustrative images of biofilm formation on different surfaces. The first one is a SEM micrograph showing the formation of polymicrobial films on the urinary catheter tubing. Then we can see the biofilm formation in dental plaque and on the leg ulcer. This is you can see this green patch which looks how the biofilm looks on a liquid surface or the water pipes or the sewage pipes. And last image shows the biofilm of Listeria monocytogenes, a, a foodborne pathogen, on the stainless steel. Now, biofilm formation is a dynamic and is a dynamic process and involves 5 steps. Number one, the first step is reversible attachment of microbe to a surface, which is mediated by pili, flagella, or other surface appendages or specific receptors. The second one is the irreversible attachment, which is mediated by the secretion of the exopolysaccharides or EPS. The third step is the cell proliferation, mm, resulting in the formation of microcolonies. You can see here the planktonic cells are the planktonic. You can see here the planktonic cells are coming, and they are subsequent formation of the microcolony is seen here. Fourth step is the growth and differentiation step, which leads to the formation of mature biofilm community. with the characteristic structural features such as water channels and towering cluster of cells like this. And the last step is the dispersion of biofilm cells, and this dispersion takes place either actively or passively by the process of detachment. Now, biofilm and drug resistance. During the extensive period over which the antibiotic resistance has naturally evolved, biofilm has played an important role. However, the most common mechanism of antibiotic resistance in planktonic bacteria do not seem to be responsible for the drug resistance mechanism demonstrated in biofilm. Even we know that even susceptible bacteria that do not have known genetic basis for resistance can be found profoundly resistant when they are in the sessile state or the biofilm state. Biofilms, uh, biofilms are a privileged environment for the mm, horizontal spread of antibiotic resistance genes and virulence factors. It has been reported that conjugation between cells within the biofilm is 700 times more efficient than among the free living or the planktonic bacterial cells. Now, the main mechanism of resistance in antibiotics. Varied mechanisms have been proposed to elucidate the high resistance of biofilms, including resistant antibiotic penetration, decreased growth rates and metabolism, and induction of cell biofilm specific phenotypes, which are known as persister cells. Now we'll discuss these mechanisms one by one. Biofilm cells are embedded in EPS matrix, and this matrix can comprises of ions, nutrients that are sequestered from the environment and are and extracellular enzymes such as beta lactamases, proteases, polysaccharases. Further, this EPS acts as a diffusion barrier and reaction sink, minimizing the intracellular concentration of the antibiotic as a result of poor penetration in the biofilm. Indeed, one simple mechanism of biofilm protection is the retention of the antibiotic in the biofilm fluid bedding. Another factor that is responsible for the high resistance of biofilm cells is the altered chemical microenvironment within the biofilms. The decrease of oxygen and the nutrient gradient that exist inside of biofilms between the surface and the deeper layers leads to altered metabolic activity and slow or stationary growth. This, this reduced activity increases the antimicrobial tolerance among uh, this reduced activity increases antimicrobial tolerance because many class of antibiotics are only effective against actively dividing cells by targeting peptidoglycan produced in the cell wall, beta-lactam, proteins, aminoglycosides, uh, or DNA replication by quinolones. Third one is the presence of persistent cells. A reduced percentage of biofilm cells remain active after prolonged exposure to a high concentration of antibiotics. These bacterial phenotypes are called as persistent cells that show a reduced growth rate and high resistance to the antimicrobial agent. The formation of these cells can highly contribute to an increased antibiotic resistance in biofilms. Persistent cells are not exclusive to biofilms. However, the frequency of occurrence is much higher within the biofilm communities than among the planktonic cells. Now, this flowchart summarizes the main anti-biofilm strategies. As we can see in the figure, the suggested approaches can be divided into two major lines of action. Some are meant to prevent the biofilm formation, and others are to eradicate the established biofilm. And they can comprise the application of physical, chemical, and biological methods. Some of them are like quorum sensing inhibition, chelation, chelating agents, and the use of natural compounds, plants, natural phytochemicals can be applied for both biofilm inhibition and eradication as well. Although the second messenger CDI-GMP is mainly involved in transition of the planktonic to the sessile state, it can also be used as a target to disperse biofilms. Now, plant as novel antibacterial agents. During the last few years, the increasing incidence of drug-resistant pathogens has drawn the attention of the pharmaceutical and the scientific communities towards studies on the potential antimicrobial activity of the plant-derived substances. This allowed resurgence. This has allowed a resurgence in the use of herbal medicines worldwide. Plant-based systems continue to play an essential role in healthcare, and their use in different cultures has been extensively documented. Plants represent a vast source of interesting compounds. The world of higher plants still remains largely unexplored for the isolation of new compounds, and it is estimated that only approx 6% of the approximately 3 lakh species of the higher plants have been pharmacologically investigated, and only 15% phytochemically. A potential source of bioactive compound is also the reinvestigation of metabolites previously assumed to be inactive, which represents almost 60% of the known metabolites. The total number of marketed drugs in human therapy is estimated to be around 3,500 compounds, representing less than 0.01% of all the known chemical compounds. An array of plants like Azadirachta indica, Medicago, sativa, Withania somnifera, Syzygium aromaticum, Allium sativum, and Curcuma longa, and the phytocompounds present in different medicinal plants such as reserpine, protocatechuic acid, gallic acid, ellagic acid, carnosic acid, toterol, rutin, quercetin, morin, biochenin, genistein, myrcetin, berberine, gingerol, eugenol, thymol, and curcumin have been identified as potent antibacterials. Various plant extracts and phytocompounds have been reported to be bactericidal by acting as efflux pump inhibitors. Furthermore, plant extracts and phytocompounds and their synergistic effect with antibiotics against MDR pathogens has also been widely elucidated. Phytochemicals tend to improve the efficacy of the conventional antibiotics against drug-resistant pathogens. Phytochemicals tend to inhibit biofilms in three ways. First, by targeting quorum sensing. Second, by metal chelation. And third one, by the efflux pump. So before going on to the QS inhibition uh, by the plants and phytochemicals, I would like to give a brief account of the quorum sensing. This slide shows the cell-to-cell communication, like and we have written bacteria can talk to each other. See, in here there are less number of cells, and because of the presence of the signal molecules, here we can see the density of bacteria has increased. So what is quorum sensing? Bacterial quorum sensing it is a density dependent cell to cell communication system that involves the production of production, detection, and response to signaling molecules, which are generally known as autoinducers. As the bacterial density increases, the autoinducers accumulate. Bac- Bacteria keep track of this information to monitor changes in their cell number and alter gene expression collectively. QS controls wide array of genes that direct number of beneficial activities when performed by groups of bacteria that are acting in synchrony. QS controls important functions like bioluminescence, sporulation, competence, antibiotic production, virulence factor secretion, and biofilm formation. Production of various virulence factors in pathogenic bacteria of different origins is controlled by QS. Although all known QS systems differ in the regulatory components and molecular mechanisms, but are dependent on three basic principles. First, the secretion of the signal molecules. Second, the detection of the signal molecules or the autoinducer by the receptors existing in the cytoplasm or in the membrane. And third one is the activation expression of genes necessary for the cooperative behavior. Detection of the signal molecules resulting in the production of signal molecules or the autoinducer. This quorum sensing is between the same cells of the same species, that is intra, and between the different species, that is the inter. This is a generalized view of how the quorum sensing functions. Uh, see when the see with the increase when this cell density is low, we see that the receptor gene produces the receptor protein that from the cells, and the initiator protein leads to the formation of initiator protein that leads to the formation of HL that diffuse out. Now, as the cell density increases, we can see the AHL diffuses in the cells. It binds to the receptor. It binds to the receptor protein and is transferred to the and then combines with the initiator genes to produce the initiator protein, and the HL diffusion and the HL diffuses out. Now, strategies for quorum sensing inhibition. Three strategies can be applied. Uh, Targeting signal generation. The signal precursor is inhibited. Then targeting HL signal dissemination, where the signal is disrupted, or the signal molecule is not allowed to, the signal molecule is not produced. And third one is the targeting signal receptor, that we block the signal receptor. In these three ways, the quorum sensing is blocked. That is, we are blocking the communication between the cells. Now, in biofilm, quorum sensing is a key component of the communication that is linked with the diverse events. The interruption of QS signaling pathways can prevent the initial biofilm formation and alter its progression through the inhibition of the secretion of adhesins or cellular appendages, which affect the bacterial motility, addition to a surface, cell auto and coaggregation, formation of microcolonies, and inhibition of the EPS production. Some quorum sensing inhibitors and quorum sensing signals can also be used to induce biofilm dispersal. Indeed, it is well documented that the signal molecules mediate several aspects of the biofilm dynamics, like heterogeneity, architecture, stress resistance, maintenance, and slowing, as seen in the figure. Now, plant extracts as QSI. Numerous plant extracts have been reported to inhibit quorum sensing in diverse bacteria, but most of the studies have been focused on two model organisms, Pseudomonas aeruginosa and Chromobacterium boileaceum. As we can see, the aqueous extracts of Ananas, Cosmosus, Musa, Paradisea, Manilcara zapota, and Ocimum sanctum uh, inhibited biofilm formation and virulence factors that are regulated by the quorum sensing. Similarly, extracts from Pumice aremaniaca, Prunella vulgaris, Nelumbo nucifera, uh, Panax notoginseng, Punica granatum, Areca catechu, and Imperata cylindrica have also demonstrated quorum sensing inhibition in the C. violatium and Pseudomonas aeruginosa. In another study, methanolic extract of Capris spinosa has been reported to inhibit biofilm formation and QS regulated virulence functions like motility and EPS. Now, some more studies are shown. And again, the target organism is the Pseudomonas aeruginosa and Chromobacterium boileaceum. The hexane extract from Amphiterigium astringens, methanolic extract of Securinega sufroticosa, Angelia dehorica, Rodgersia podophylla, Viburnum carlesi. Methanolic extract that is rich in ellagic acid derived from the Terminella chebula inhibited the biofilm of Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Hexane extract of Delbergia trichophora, ethyl acetate fraction of ethanol extract from Syzygium cumini, polyphenol-rich extract from Rosa rugosa, extracts of neotropical rainforest plants from Meliaceae, Melastomatiaceae, Lepidobotryaceae, and Spingaceae families. Extract from wheat bran. Some reports are also available on the inhibition of biofilms in gram-positive bacteria, like ethanolic extracts of Italian medicinal plants, Ballota nigra, Costania sativa, and Sambucus ebulis. They inhibited the biofilm of MRSA clinical isolate. Methanolic extracts, methanolic, ethanoic, chloroformic, acetonic, and aqueous extracts from Salvadora persica. They inhibited the initial addition and biofilm formation and interfered with the QS regulators in S mutants. Here are some more reports. In addition to the plant extracts, many phytocompounds have also been reported for the QS inhibition activity, like epigalactocatechin, catechin, naringin, catechins, saponins, biquinone hydrate, cinnamaldehyde, chrysophenol, nodacanetin, chiconin, and imodin, allicin, iburin, methyl eugenol, rosamarinic acid, naringin, chlorogenic acid, morin, mangiferin. But what is to be noted that most of these studies have been done on the model organisms, that is Pseudomonas aeruginosa and Chromobacterium boileaceum. The curcumin from Curcuma longa, it demonstrated broad spectrum antibiofilm activities against E. coli, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, Proteus mirabilis, Serratia marcens, Vibrio harvey, Parahemolyticus, Vibrio vulnificius. Salicylic acid demonstrated antibiofilm activity against Bacillus cereus and Pseudomonas fluorescens. And hemamelitanin demonstrated biofilm susceptibility to increased biofilm susceptibility to vancomycin treatment in MRSA. Essential oil and their compounds have also been reported as QSIs. Clove, essential oil of clove against Pseudomonas aeruginosa and Aromonas hydrophila, essential oil from Morella coenjae, cinnamon oil, Mentha piperita, clove bud oil, and essential oil compounds like eugenol and carvacrol have also been reported to inhibit bacteria biofilms of gram-negative bacteria. Yes, these are some of my research papers that have been published on biofilm inhibition using essential oils, plants, extracts, and phytocompounds. Most of our work is focused on the inhibition of biofilms of gram-negative bacteria by targeting the quorum sensing mechanism. Now, the other aspect, phytochemicals as biofilm metal chelators. Metal ions, for example, calcium, magnesium, copper, manganese, zinc, and iron are involved in several biological processes and crucial for the growth and survival of the microorganisms in their own environment. Furthermore, they are actively correlated with the ability of the bacteria to invade or colonize host tissues, causing diseases. Metals, metals in general, and particularly iron, play a crucial role in the pathogenesis and virulence. They have also been associated with biofilm formation as they serve as signaling factors. This is supported by previous studies where it was suggested that iron sensing is mainly involved in the first step of biofilm formation, that is, attachment and microcolony formation. As they are vital for bacterial cell growth and adherence. Further, some reports have shown the importance of iron to the release of DNA, one of the major biofilm matrix component, especially in Pseudomonas aeruginosa, and this is QS quorum sensing control. It has also been described that iron is required for Pseudomonas aeruginosa biofilm formation because when it is provided at reduced concentration, the biofilm obtained is less structured and consists of thin layers of film. Metals are also critical in the maintenance of biofilm architecture due to their involvement in the stability and cohesiveness of the extracellular matrix. For instance, the calcium and iron ions have been frequently emphasized for their cross-linking properties among components of the biofilm matrix, helping in the maintenance of the matrix integrity. Considering the role of metals in various stages of biofilm development, as well as their involvement in host tissue infection by pathogens, targeting bacteria with metal binding agents can provide a means for fighting biofilm-based infection. Now, these are some of the metal chelators that are reported to inhibit biofilm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 penta O galloyl B D glucopyranose inhibited Pseudomonas Staphylococcus aureus biofilm by iron chelation. Phenolines inhibited S. aureus and S. epidermidis biofilm by iron chelation. Alizarin inhibited biofilm of Pseudomonas Staphylococcus aureus and S. epidermidis by metal chelation. Further conjugates of antibiotics and siderophores have demonstrated enhanced biofilm inhibition in various bacteria. Now, phytochemicals as efflux pump inhibitors. The, the role of efflux pump in biofilm resistance has been shown for several biofilm forming bacteria such as Pseudomonas aeruginosa, E. coli, Salmonella, Asorius, and Listeria monocytogenes. Currently, the increasing evidence has elucidated that efflux pump systems are not merely pumps involved in the transport of drugs or toxic substances out of the cell, but they have also been implicated in QS regulation, and thus the subsequent expression of genes responsible for virulence and biofilm formation. EP, the efflux pump inhibitors or EPIs alone or combined with other compounds such as chelating agents and classical antibiotics constitute a new anti-biofilm strategy. And indeed, this combinatorial application of EPIs with chelators and antibiotics seems a promising strategy to inhibit biofilms. EPIs from natural sources with biofilm activities have been reported. For example, alkaloid raspberry. It inhibited biofilm formation in the clinical isolates of Klebsiella pneumoniae at low concentration. Cafeo, Cafeolquinic acid were identified as a flux pump inhibitor, and additionally, the combined application of this compound with ethidium bromide and moxifloxacin at sub MIC concentrations or the sub inhibitory concentration promoted the inactivation of S. aureus and Enterococcus faecalis biofilm. Gallic acid is also reported to be an efflux pump inhibitor, and it demonstrated biofilm eradication in the clinical strains of MRSA. Now, conclusion and future perspective. Advances in the understanding of the biofilm formation and resistance mechanism are significant, but the progress on the development of strategies for their effective control is still very modest. Among the promising strategies, the use of phytochemicals has attracted significant attention as they can be used as source of new scaffolds for the development of novel therapeutic compounds with enhanced activity. They can also target bacteria using different mechanisms of current antibiotics. Another interesting aspect of the use of phytochemicals against biofilm is their ability to influence regulatory mechanisms involved in biofilm formation and maintenance by a non-bactericidal mode of action. That is, we are not killing the bacteria, but just disarming them. And thus, these do not impose selective pressure upon the bacteria. However, then a caution is needed in the application of these antivirulence approaches, like the targeting of QS, as in fact, they can favor or select for. They can also select for more virulent strains. So some regulations are needed, and the application has to be done with caution. An important missing piece for the studies of plant-derived antimicrobial compounds is the understanding of their mode of action, as the precise nature of their working mechanisms is very important and useful in drug discovery process. Computer-based methodologies like molecular docking could be used to predict the ligand receptor binding affinity. Moreover, the effort to discover new drugs from plant is threatened by the fact that this process is time consuming and laborious, consisting mostly of the bioassay guided isolation of different components of the extract and successive identification of the active compounds using numerous techniques. Therefore, new perspectives and methodologies such as multivariate data analysis coupled to metabolomics are promising for discovering plant-based drugs. High throughput screening can also be applied for the screening of large amount of antimicrobial or antibiofilm compounds, so that the development of the new formation is sped up. There are no identified compounds with total efficacy against biofilm till date. Therefore, combinatorial therapies based on physical, uh, like antimicrobial, photodynamic therapy, electric field, surface modification, chemicals, antimicrobials, disinfectant, plant extract, phytochemicals, surfactants, metal chelator, or biological like bacteriophages, enzymes, antibodies. Methods have been suggested for successfully fighting the multi-drug resistant organisms and their biofilms. Thanks for listening and keep loving science. Thank you.